Lord Lieutenant Michael Gurney and invite him to speak. Vice Lord Lieutenant.
Thank you very much. Thank you for welcoming me this evening. And Madeline, I do remember that meeting in Sheringham, and thank you. Great pleasure. Very quickly, I'm going to run through, I'm sure that most of you know it, but I'm going to run through the role of the Lieutenancy in Norfolk. The Lord Lieutenant is Lady Philippa Downitt, MBE. She represents the King at events, supports organisations, charities and communities across the county. So she is the King's representative, and that has happened since, if any of you are watching Wolf Hall, that's since Henry VIII. There's been Lord Lieutenants in every county. My job as Vice Lord Lieutenant is to support her. I'm her deputy, and she sends many apologies for being here tonight because of change of dates. She already had a prior engagement that she's occupied on, and therefore I'm standing in her place. There are a number of deputy lieutenants for each county. In Norfolk, there are 50, and that depends on how big the population is in each county. And if any of you are interested at seeing who your deputy lieutenants are, your local ones, they are all pictures and biographies are all on the Norfolk Lieutenancy page. If you just type Norfolk Lieutenancy into Google, that will come up, and it has a list of all the DLs there. Can I just say, all of us are volunteers. We're unpaid, for no expenses. Most of all, we are apolitical and independent. So please do feel free to join us at any time. We are specifically independent, and therefore, if anyone has political connections, they then have to leave the lieutenancy. We have now organised them along district boundaries in Norfolk. So there are 8 groups in Norfolk, and so that they can find out more locally at the local level with both parish and district councillors. This is particularly apposite around who is deserving of honours, any charities deserving of King's Award for voluntary service, and likewise how we can find out if any businesses would like to go forward for King's Award for Enterprise. We are, of course, because we are, our aim is to bring the community together and to support the communities. We are naturally highly supportive of the Association of Local Councils in providing support to parish councils and to the councillors, who of course themselves are volunteers as well. Lady Downitt is delighted to continue as your patron and thanks you for that offer. And again, she sent her best wishes on there. Local government is essential to build communities. Madeline, as you know, in my Shreveport year, I went round meeting all the town and parish councils just as we came out of COVID. It is without doubt the most important level of democracy, because you know everything that happens at that local level. Yeah. You know what is really happening as opposed to what is being said in the papers. The volunteers on parish councils, of course, in turn, need professional support from their part-time clerks and from the Association of Local Councils. The ALC provides that vital training, advisory and information role across Norfolk. And in my view, the bedrock of democracy is at local level. You do extraordinary things, and I'd like to thank you. I'm delighted to see so many here this evening. I will now shut up and let you get on with your meeting, and I look forward to hearing all that you've got to say. Thank you for inviting me.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
That. Thank you. Yeah. Okay.
Thank you very much, Vice Lord. And please pass on our heartfelt thanks for the kind words from Lady Danid as well. Most appreciated. Thank you. I would now like to hand you over to the chair of the board, Madeline Ashcroft, who is now going to start the meeting proper with regards to the agenda. Over to you, Madeline.
Right.
Thank you.
Okay. Right. Well, thank you very much, Michael. And thank you, Adrian, for starting us off. And thank you all for turning up this evening. I noticed that we've got Margaret here, who is our Norfolk County Council representative, who's always been very helpful. And hopefully we'll be able to work with you again in the future. I'm asking, first of all, to receive any apologies, if there have been any. I don't know if we had apologies from Sue Linton this evening. Are there any other apologies, Carolyn?
Linda Monument, the Mayor of Dereham.
Linda Monument. Okay. Anybody else?
I've received no apologies, Chair.
Okay. So moving along there then. First of all, I think I would like to mention to everybody that we have the board members here who are current board members. I'm not sure if you can all see them up, but if we sort of say as Alan Wright, Janet Holdham, Carolyn Coleman, and Nigel Light and myself, and we at the moment make up the board of directors. That you now sort of seen us and you know who we are. Okay. The next thing to talk about is the minutes from the last AGM, and they were previously circulated, so you should have all read those, and hopefully you have all read them, and those are for you to say, is there anything that you can say about them, or are we happy to accept them? Yeah. No, is anybody putting their hand up? I can't see everybody, so obviously I can't.
Hands. No, we can't see any electronic hands, Chair. Thank you.
No electronic hands. Oh, well, that's good. Excellent. Good. Okay. And then the accounts for 22, 23 and 23 and 24, they've all been circulated to you. And I'm hoping that we can pass those. They have gone through to the right channels. They've been registered with the with Companies House and so on. So has anybody got any queries about those, or are we happy to accept them as they are? Yeah. Carolyn Coates. Can we go to Carolyn Coates?
We're just going to unmute her.
Yeah.
Carolyn Coates will need to unmute. Carolyn, please unmute yourself.
Good evening. Yes, I was having a look at the finances. I was having a look for sales and income. There's no breakdown to say where the money came from.
Okay. Well, we have. Can I ask Janet Holdham to talk about this, perhaps for a minute? Can you answer that, Janet?
I can tell you that I'm looking for the exact page. Essentially, the income in general, the sales are subscriptions and services provided. So that would be subscriptions and training and HR services, advice, anything that it comes via membership. As well as that, there is included that there have been a number of grants from local government, Norfolk County Council in particular. So I haven't got the precise breakdown in front of me, but that's what makes up the entirety of the income and sales, receipts and sales figures.
Mm-hmm. Okay,
yeah, I mean, I can see that. It would have been nice for the breakdown to been included, so as members we could see where the income is coming from, how much membership is raising, how much training is raising. I mean, we've got the expenditure is all broken down, so logically sales should have been done the same.
Okay. But I think it's because they're mainly just two cost centres for that purpose. But if we're able to get a detailed breakdown, we can try to do that after this meeting.
I mean, it's just a matter of being transparent, and just two figures. It's not showing enough information for my liking. Thank you.
Okay, we'll take that on board. Thanks, Janet. We've got Sheila Gurney there. Can you unmute? There we go. Sheila Gurney. So we can't hear you yet. Sorry, we can't hear you yet.
Good evening, everybody. I'm Sheila Gurney. This evening, I am representing Helston Parish Council. I am a member of Helston Parish Council. On your expenditure list, could you just give me some examples of what you mean by well-being? I think there's a typo there. I think there should be another L actually. But yeah, I spent £31,813 on well-being. It's not a header I'm used to seeing on an account, actually.
Right. Up till now, we've had a well-being person who had a limited contract and who actually finished earlier in the year, and that sort of went with him. Pete, he was doing all sorts of things with regard to the well-beings in parishes, and he did a lot of work across Norfolk with that heading, but that has now ceased because the funding ceased, and we don't have that anymore. Does that help at all?
Yes. So if you said you had funding for it, I assume that funding is coming in under income, other income, government grants, etc.
Yes.
I think generally, I can see what you mean by well-being now, but it's really a consultancy work, isn't it? Consultancy work in the well-being field. So maybe a better explanation of it. Thank you.
Okay. Janet, can you explain a bit better or not?
Well, I'd just like to clarify that Pete the Wellbeing Project was introduced by John Pennell and Timo O'Riordan to encourage parishes to be more aware of environmental and flood planning, such topics as those, to encourage local councils to be ready, well informed and prepared for any disasters or challenges that climate change might be bringing to us. And so Pete would hold meetings and travel or visit local councils or hold meetings to pass on information and produce a newsletter on a regular basis on that specific topic.
So what you're really talking about is community resilience as opposed to well-being, which I interpreted that as a more of a personalisation project on the well-being for me as being in adult social services has a completely different meaning to it. So you've now said about flooding. I don't associate that with well-being per se, but I do associate what you're saying in this project. So more about community response and resilience to environmental issues and things. So I think well-being personally is a little bit misleading, but I'll leave it at that. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Sheila.
Alan. Sorry,
Alan.
Madeline. Sorry, Sheila, to sort of back that up. Yes, Tim was very much part of the sustainability concept in terms of that. And there was always the discussion amongst us, you know, that there are two little subdivisions in the well-being. Obviously, well-being of people, persona as such, but also well-being of communities to make them sustainable, you know, in the light of all the changes that are going along, everything from funding to flooding and so on. So that's where it came from. But there have been many an interesting discussion over this well-being word. And I don't think anybody's successfully defined it yet. But yeah, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Right, so we're happy to accept the accounts as they are for the 2 years there. Right.
I'll second them.
Oh, right. Okay. Thank you.
Everybody's happy with that? I can confirm there are no more hands, Chair.
Okay. Thank you for that. Right. So moving on then, onto the annual report. So this hasn't been circulated. I'm going to read it out now. During my term as chair of Norfolk ALC, the board has been working to define a pathway of restructuring and plan development that will shape our services for the future and maintain the programme of unparalleled services upon which our members rely. To assist us in that objective, we have appointed an interim county officer, Adrian Myers, who, as you know, is with us tonight. He has considerable experience within our local government and is committed to supporting our member councils. He has already been instrumental in addressing some of the challenges and initiatives we seek to implement as part of our revised operational infrastructure. While forward planning and implementation of new directions and initiatives are crucial, they cannot detract from the services we need to continue providing for our member councils. I'm pleased to report that we have managed to maintain our provision of high quality and accredited training and advisory support despite challenges encountered recently. We are currently supplying a payroll service to 37 councils, covering 99 employees in total. This includes pension admin where needed. We also answer queries from councils about invoicing, payroll and fees enquiries. We have dealt with 95 requests for HR advice. We have undertaken audits for 7 councils. We have, as the only affiliated and legally certified provider, delivered 3 Silka courses with a total of 18 learners. We also provide follow-up mentoring support as and when needed, and about 40% of students take up our service reviewing their draft portfolio submissions. We deliver in-council training as well, such as 6 courses for new councillors in the last 12 months and 1 course on standing orders. Every year we handle hundreds of income inquiries by email and through our website. Norfolk ALC offers the Norfolk Parishes Service, providing websites to local councils. During the past year, we have moved the sites to a new hosting provider to provide a better and more reliable service to our members. We have also launched a gov.uk service to provide domain names, websites and email accounts, and arranged access to government funding of £100 plus VAT per council to aid in the switchover. To date, we have 104 websites on our Norfolk Parishes service and 96 on our gov.uk service. Approximately 38% of local councils in Norfolk use our website services. 36 councils have benefited from one-to-one training sessions on the use of their websites, helping new and existing clerks. Many more have received support via email, too many to count. Kevin also now has 29 customers with managed websites where we update and manage the website on their behalf. Kevin also manages the day-to-day running of our IT systems, customer database, website and social media, and produces our regular email newsletter to keep you informed on the latest news in our sector. As announced at last year's AGM, it was resolved to restructure Norfolk ALC by converting our legal status from a cooperative society to that of a company limited by guarantee, in line with other county associations. We are now in a position to expedite the restructuring, and I wish to thank the input and dedication of my co-directors and the county officer for their role in all the preparatory work. Today, we are providing the additional information on this change that was requested by members at the 2023 AGM. A consultation document has been circulated, which all members should have now received and been able to read and consider. In practical terms, 2 months' notice is required to prepare for this change. The membership will be able to vote on this proposal, therefore, in 2 months' time. Coincidentally, this organisational restructuring negates the need for a president, a status that was a civic and ceremonial role without remuneration, operational responsibilities, or the voting powers of a director. The proposed move to limited company status also coincided with a recent extraordinary and very public intervention by Professor Tim O'Riordan, which most unfortunately has potentially breached data protection and Norfolk ALC operational procedures. Consequently, the board was obliged to terminate the arrangement with effect from October 24 and will not be replacing the recent incumbent nor reinstating the role under the new arrangements. Regrettably, Professor O'Riordan's interference has continued despite his assurances to the contrary, and the board is now taking legal advice. Suffice to say, the board utterly refutes his claims and innuendo, which are factually incorrect, grossly misleading, and hugely damaging to Norfolk ALC's operational integrity and public perception of the organisation. Others associated with his interference have been identified, and again, appropriate legal action is in progress to resolve the situation and repair the damage done. On a positive note, there is much about Norfolk ALC to be optimistic. The board has always recognised that parish clerks have a wealth of operational experience regarding the function and operation of parish, town and local councils. Whilst appreciating their expertise, we are mindful of the potential conflict of interest in the context of voting rights in the board's decision-making processes. We therefore propose that the new Articles of Association would set out how clerks from member councils can contribute to our board. Over the last year, it has become clear that many of our member councils have experienced similar operational and internal relationship difficulties. We are pleased to report that we have been able to assist councils as they deal with such difficulties. The key challenge for us this coming year is that we have been informed by the County Council that due to their £44 million deficit, their grant funding may not be available. We feel this is a very short-sighted proposal by the county regarding support for their parish councils, and we are working hard to resolve this potential funding issue. However, whilst yes, we may face a future with some uncertainties, the board is determined to meet those challenges and find solutions. The one undeniable positive is that there is a membership demand for our valued services, and that as a revitalised organisation, we will be better prepared, more appropriately structured and staffed to continue our excellent support service offers to members. Thank you. That's the end of my report. Are there any comments? Have there been any comments at all? There
was just one that came. Sorry, Madeline. There's just one that came in and said, "Will that be circulated?" Yes, of course, it will be circulated.
Yes, that'll be circulated. Yeah.
And so, thank you for that, Madeline. We now move on to item 5, the elections and reasoning, and that is on to Alan. Thank you, Chair.
I just get my microphone back there.
Yeah.
It was always planned. Yes, yeah. I mean, historically, we've been working a long time on this restructuring, which was agreed last year to move to the the company with limited with guarantee, and the elections for some members of the board happens next May. We have a 4-year cycle in our board membership, and that will come up at the same time. So we wanted to make sure that, as well as moving forward with the articles for the new company status and the need to progress in several other areas, as Madeline's just mentioned, that a meeting in May was actually quite critical, an important part of what we have to move towards next year to establish all our new credentials and so on. Now, I'm not party to all of this, Madeline, but is there any extra? I think, Caroline, you've got something to say on that, have you?
Well, thank you, Alan. As people will be aware, the next item is to discuss conversion away from a cooperative society to a company limited by guarantee, and I shall come on to that shortly. But if the membership votes in favour of making that move, then at that point we would be sending out nomination papers to all of our members seeking new nominations for a new board of directors.
Yeah.
I think that is the critical point, and something that I wanted to make sure was clear with the members, Madeline.
Okay. And of course, we have heard that Lady Dannatt is pleased to continue as our patron, which is a great relief to think that that's going to carry on. That'd be super. And we have made arrangements to actually have meetings on a regular basis so that we keep in touch with the Lord Lieutenancy as well, which will be very helpful, I think.
I think if I can just say...
Absolutely. Thank you, Madeline.
If I can just say to back up Madeline, and our Vice Lord Lieutenant stated this, we are at the tier of local democracy that really counts. We are apolitical at parish and town level. We are volunteers, and we want the best for our communities. And that cross association at all levels is so vital. And I'm surprised that Norfolk hasn't, or doesn't seem yet to be aware of just how important our parish and town council representation through Norfolk, for example, and through other organisations isn't quite clear. But hopefully we'll make the point to them, Madeline. I think we're, our parishes are absolutely vital, absolutely vital.
Right. Okay. So we're going on to the legal structures on item 6, and I'm asking Carolyn to have a word about this, because you will have received the papers and presumably read them, hopefully. Okay.
Okay, so I'm Carolyn Coleman, a Durham Town Councillor. I joined the board very recently in September, therefore I am co-opted. I have worked as part of the senior management team in a company limited by guarantee before I retired and became councillor. And so I do understand how company limited by guarantee works and what the ethos can be in service of its community, in our case, its membership. So the paper that has been circulated, on page 1, I discussed some of the advantages and the disadvantages of the present structure as a cooperative society. I know that this was raised a year ago at the AGM in October 2023, and I believe it is the case that more information was requested at that time. So that's what I've tried to do here. Now, what I've written here, I did research this. I compared several websites in order to compare the differences between a cooperative and a company limited by guarantee, and that's how I arrived at this list: the advantages of the cooperative structure and the disadvantages. When it comes to the advantages of the cooperative society, easy to form, limited liability and stability, because it would continue even if some members were to depart. Those all apply to a company limited by guarantee, which I think most of you know. Roger Taylor has said is a structure that is much, much more suited to a membership organisation like ours. One of the points that's sometimes quoted as a benefit of the cooperative structure is that the members participate in decision making. But in reality, what we have found when we have run general meetings in the past for this purpose, that there has been a very limited response. And so experience has shown us that the majority of members don't wish to participate in decision making on a regular basis because they've got their own day jobs. And what they actually want from NALC, I'm going to refer to it as NALC, I hope that's okay, is a professional service that meets their needs. Now, I'm assuming you've all read the paper, so I won't go through all the disadvantages line by line, but a very important one is privacy. Now, it is true that the Cooperative and Community Benefit Societies Act 2014 states that societies must have a member register available for inspection. However, we doubt whether any cooperative society would willingly hand out a list of members, as we were recently asked to do so by one of our members. The National Association of Local Councils receives hundreds of freedom of information requests a year, and the most frequently requested is for a list of parish councils and together with contact details across the whole of England. So you may be interested to know that they always refuse this request. It would clearly be a marketing man's dream, or woman's dream, to acquire such a database, and I'm sure we all get more than enough junk mail and marketing mail or spam already. Now, Norfolk ALC is quite capable of making a list of members available for inspection, should it be needed, by appointment at our offices, but we will not give it away. We believe that more recent legislation on data protection takes precedence, and without the permission of members, we would not give out your data. On page 2 of the document that was circulated, I identified some of the difficulties with our current rules of association operating as a cooperative. Do you really want to receive education and training in the skills required to be a member of a cooperative? Is that really cooperative values and principles? Is that really important to you or relevant to our members? I'm not so sure about that. Fortunately, and we were challenged on this, item 40 in our rules of association does permit us to hold meetings and vote, general meetings and votes by electronic means. So the reason for supplying all of this information is to try to give you a fair comparison. There was a table provided on page 3 of the document that was circulated that compares the differences between the unincorporated association, where any members or directors would potentially be liable for any losses. Both the cooperative and the company limited by guarantee have the ability to limit the exposure of members and directors to £1, and that is written into the Articles of Association. Any assets which belong to the Norfolk ALC currently as a cooperative society would of course pass to the new company limited by guarantee, assuming that the changeover is approved. And I say again, it's recommended, strongly recommended by Roger Taylor. In actual fact, the company limited by guarantee would not operate so very differently from the cooperative society at present. The most common form of limited company, of course, is the company limited by shares, which is where any profits after costs are paid for and taxes are paid, profits can be distributed to shareholders as dividends. With a company limited by guarantee, that does not happen. The company limited by guarantee, unlike a charity, can trade, But after costs and taxes, if there are any surpluses, then those surpluses go back into the benefit of the member services that the organisation provides. Structurally, it is very, very similar in as much as members would elect directors to the board, normally for a fixed term, sometimes 3 years, sometimes 4 years. And those representatives, which should be representative, hopefully geographically, of the whole of Norfolk and its different local economies, they, of course, set the direction of the company. And then, of course, the executive team carries that out. Now, this is by way of our advance notice of a special resolution that will be coming to you in February to convert to a company limited by guarantee as recommended by Roger Taylor. We would employ Roger Taylor to carry out the work so as to be absolutely sure that it is done absolutely correctly. Can I just add one more thing? And then I'll stop. And that is any members who perhaps have a special interest in governance arrangements could let us know via the county officer, and we would be able to consult over the coming period between now and February on what new articles of association could look like.
Thank you, Carolyn.
Sorry, Madeline, I did see something come up from an officer about have we thought about a charity status instead of?
Alan, I've already answered that one.
Okay.
Right, okay.
I'm answering questions as they come in. We've got some hands that will be coming up for the talk afterwards. But as questions have been coming in, they are being answered. So, but I'm sure there's going to be some others. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Okay. Thank you, Carolyn. That was really clear from I would imagine for everybody. And I'm sorry you've had to say all that because you've got such a dreadful cold, but you've done very well. Thanks very much for the effort. Now I can see Paul Rawlinson has got his hand up, and also Mark Turner. Who's going first?
You're muted.
Paul,
you're muted.
Can you unmute?
Paul. On my machine, the microphone's on the top. There's a row on the top.
Yeah.
Where you have to click on the microphone. Still can't hear you.
Oh, that's odd, isn't it?
Should we take Mark Turner first? Because
each person who wishes to talk will have to unmute themselves. We have unmuted them from this end. You'll have to do it yourself. Thank you.
Okay.
Oh, right.
Sorry,
I think Mark is unmuted, so let's go to Mark.
Yeah, I think the ability to unmute was disabled, so we're reliant on someone at your end to unmute, Adrian, and we can do it apparently. Yeah, it's just something I wanted to point out. I know I raised the question, but Caroline, you've said several times that by being a director of a limited company, the director is absolved of any responsibility beyond the £1. That's not quite correct. If the director, for argument's sake, makes a wrongful act, misleading statement, they are themselves liable. I have my own limited company. I also have director's obligation indemnity insurance. So don't assume because it's a limited company you are indemnified. You're not.
No, I didn't actually say that you were exempted from all responsibilities, and I completely agree with the statement that you have just made. But it is the case that in the event of some losses, the losses would be taken by the company, not the directors.
Unless the losses, unless the losses are associated with neglect or a breach of duty on the part of the director.
This is true. This is true.
Yeah. Thank you, Mark. Thank you. Now then, we've got John. You're going to unmute. You need to unmute. What's happening there? Come on, John. Oh dear. Right. You can't do it? It's just the microphone at the top, just to sort of tweak. Is he been done from central?
I can talk to them individually.
Everybody who's got their hand up has been unmuted from this end, so they now need to unmute themselves.
Yes.
Okay.
We've got Paul Rawlinson or John. Can either of you do it?
Paul and John, if you can hear me, can you wave? Thank you. Are you having difficulties unmuting? Have you pressed your unmute button?
It's at the top of your screen. There should
Oh,
be
is it something to do with unverified? It's just saying something to do with unverified.
I'm unverified, and I can.
You're unverified. Yeah.
So, as I say, on my computer, it's at the top of the screen. There's a whole bunch of icons.
Right. Okay.
Oh dear.
Is there something that you can put into the chat and then we could respond that way?
Yes, please. There seems to be a Teams issue with if somebody's unverified, it's difficult for them to unmute themselves, and we're having difficulty in letting them in. But if you'd like to put the question forward, please, we'd be more than happy to answer it.
Got a few minutes there. Right.
What impact does a company limited by guarantee have on governance in comparison to a co-op? I would say that is for us to determine, because Roger Taylor has already provided some draft articles of association which would replace the current rules of association, as I call them, for the cooperative society. But we can modify them to suit our purposes, and we can incorporate within them any things that we wish to retain from the current rules of association, or indeed any things that we wish to retain from our constitution. So we haven't yet finalised those articles of association. I mean, that would be a process of consultation in the new year.
Yeah. Thank you. And Paul, did you have anything? Have you had anything to add?
That was Paul, actually, and John.
That was Paul, was it?
Said
Paul, yes, right, okay, and John's welcoming status. Okay.
Yeah.
I
mean, just going back to Paul's question, in practice, it would make very, very little difference, because there would still be a board that is elected by the members and which represents, ideally, the wishes of the members. Those representatives need to stay in touch, don't they, with their local councils in their areas to find out what their issues are, and they need to bring that back to the board. And if it means that the services which are provided have to be changed or tweaked or modified or whatever, then the board must instruct the executive to carry that out.
Yeah. Okay.
Thank you, Paul. May I ask you to put your hand down unless you have another question? And if you do, could you send it to us? Thank you.
Okay. Right. Yeah. Okay. Roger Taylor, I might add, just as Paul's put a word in there, Roger Taylor is the person that he has a vast amount of knowledge, because he has dealt with a huge number of ALCs, associations of local councils across the country, actually. So, he does know what he's talking about. which is a good thing, isn't it? Yeah, I take your point though. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Right. Okay. If we've got, are we happy with everything there?
I think just to pick up on the last port from Paul, have we had more views?
Yeah.
We will be going out to the membership in 2 months' time with the special resolution to convert. That will be the opportunity for all of our members to have their input, you know, to vote, to make any comments.
Good. Okay. Right. Thank you very much for that. Item 7. We did send out a, oh, sorry.
I'm sorry, Chair. A question just came in that they don't know who Roger Taylor is. Has that question been answered?
Oh, right. Okay. Not Roger Taylor. Right. He's the, oh, that's Mark, isn't it? Yeah. He is a solicitor that we've been taking advice from about this situation over the last year or so. And he has advised us that the cooperative stance is not the one that we should be going down, which is the majority. I mean, I think it's all other. We are the only association of local councils that is in that cooperative. All others are limited by guarantee. So, you know, he has advised us that it is the correct thing to do. Is that okay? Yeah.
I'm told.
Oh,
I can't remember it. Sorry, Madeline. May I just say
okay,
this?
go.
I mean, he is absolutely an expert in this. That's absolutely clear when you talk to him. He has advised the National Association of Local Councils on this, on governance, and prepared the Articles of Association for many other of the regional ALCs. I'm told that he also writes, what's the name of the book that is regarded as the Bible by clerks? I don't remember what the name of the book is called. Is it something right? Anyway.
Is that the Green Book? Is that the Green Book we talk about?
I've been told that he actually writes that. You know, he is an expert, definitely.
Yeah. Okay. And there's somebody, PH, who thinks the move makes sense. So thank you for that. I can't, we can't see him because his camera won't work apparently. Okay, so you will be hearing more about this in the next couple of months, and we will be having a vote on that when the time comes. So if anybody has any further information or whatever that they need to discuss with us, please keep in touch, won't you? I think that's the best way of dealing with that now. Okay, so we come on to number 7. Discussion and vote concerning. Oh, sorry, Janet. Yes, carry on.
Was it Arnold Baker that you were looking for, Carolyn?
Yes. Yeah, that was it.
Okay. Right.
Okay, sorry.
Okay. Yeah, okay. We're on number 7 here now. And we're looking at
sorry, Chair, we just got a hand up from Sheila Gurney. Just got a hand up.
Oh, right. Okay. Yeah. Sheila? I can't see you now. You're muted.
Sorry.
Okay.
It is the Clerk's Bible, Arnold Baker. Mr. Taylor took it over when the other gentleman passed away.
All right.
Yeah.
Super. Okay. Thanks for that.
Yeah.
Also, to answer Mark Turner, yes, he has specifically advised a company limited by guarantee. Remember, it's not the same as a company limited by shares.
Right. Okay.
It's a not-for-profit organisation in as much as any surpluses are ploughed back into services for members.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, we've got Peter Crook.
Peter, you need to unmute yourself, please. Thank you.
Whoop. No, it's gone back on again. That's it. Okay.
Yeah, I just wondered if you're going to be circulating articles of association, the Constitution, when you circulate these the structure documents.
Well,
we can do, if I may.
Mm-hmm.
What I think
well, that's what it's all about, isn't it? The structure is what we work within, but
yes.
the Articles of Association and Constitution are what we're operating to.
Sure, and yeah, I hadn't quite finished, but my suggestion would be that early in the new year, perhaps we write out to councils to find out any individuals who are specifically interested in this question of governance and legal structures, so that they could indeed take part and be consulted with regard to the drafting of the new Articles of Association.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, good. And Mark, have you got something else that you want to say? Yes.
Yeah, not to labour the point, but the paperwork that I've got in front of me simply says that Roger Taylor says what we're doing now is wrong. There's nothing here for me to base my decision on in terms of supporting this, with Roger Taylor saying this is right. Would it be possible before we go to this vote, can we please have an opinion from Roger Taylor rather than a précis version, which is only a little bit? I think that would be brilliant, because if we've got an expert putting his name to it, showing us all this is the way to do it, why would we not support it? Thank you.
Yes. Good point. Yes. Yeah, we will do that. Yes. Okay. Thank you, Mark. Right. Okay. So number 7. Discussion and vote concerning member data privacy. In fact, we did send a note round to everybody earlier today about this to clarify the situation. And we were looking at, obviously, the fact that each person here would only be able to vote about their own member data rather than for their council. So it's a little bit of a strange thing, I think. Would you like to come in on this, Adrian, or
Yes, thank you, Chair. It was quite correctly pointed out that some representatives of their councils who are attending tonight were only allowed to represent their councils if they were voted and minuted as representatives of those councils. And it is quite correct that some members here, actually probably the majority, had received no such instruction or minuted instruction from their parish councils. So as such, we needed to understand and make those members understand that when they were voting tonight, they are voting for themselves personally. Those who have not been minuted to represent their councils are voting for themselves. Those who have been minuted to represent their councils, which means they have their full council's permission, may vote for their councils. And it was an anomaly that came up, and because it was on the agenda, just through clarity, probity and fairness, that it is clear that councils who have not been minuted to represent their council here tonight cannot vote for their council. No individual councillor is the parish council unless their parish council has voted for them to represent them. And so that was to clear that matter up, because we have 2 types of representatives here. We have people who represent themselves and people who are here under representation of their councils. So tonight, if you have not been minuted to represent your council, when you vote about your data, we're talking about your personal data for you. Now, after the vote is taken, what I would like attendees to be able to do is actually go back to their parish councils and discuss the matters that are arising tonight about this sharing of data. Caroline alluded to it before with regards to how data collected from people could be extrapolated out and then misused, and that is an absolute original operating factors that the operation that we have now with regards to a co-op doesn't really fit the organisation's needs, and it creates some anomalies in the legal requirements of how parish councils operate and data protection and that type of thing. So that's what we try to avoid. So all it is tonight, if you are not nominated and minuted as nominated by your council to vote, you will only be voting on a personal basis. If you are, then you are quite entitled to vote for your council. Thank you.
Okay, so how do you want to do the voting, Adrian? so that we can see what's happening. Oh, hang on, Fraser. Can we unmute Fraser? Whoops. Can you oh. You're muted, Fraser. What's happened there?
We've unmuted him.
Oh, can you unmute Fraser?
Is that better? Can you hear me?
That's it. Yes. Yes.
Great.
Yes.
Okay.
Loud and
I'll
clear.
give you a shortcut. If anybody else has this trouble, Control Shift and M seems to work. I'm a little bit confused as to what exactly a member is. I thought the members were the parish councils and not us. I thought we were just the member representative. So when we talk about the data, are we talking about the data about the member, which is the parish council, or are we talking about the member representative data? I think perhaps I'm being pedantic, but if this is going to be something we're going to vote on, perhaps we need to clarify that.
Right. The data is okay, Adrian.
It's a good point. Yes, the parish council as a whole is a member of the Norfolk Association, but then again, you are a member of that council, so you are, I suppose, in one common sense, a member of the association. Because if you, as a councillor, wanted to contact the association for advice and support, we'd be happy to provide that for you. So you don't actually have to go through your parish council to do so. And I have spoken to individual parish councillors who have rung up with some concerns. I've spoken to chairs. I mean, the normal method is to go through your clerk, which is very helpful. And then we have sort of 3,000 councillors contacting us. So we would prefer you to go through your clerk, which is the correct channel. But you can contact the parish council, you can contact the Norfolk Association on your own behalf if you've got some concerns and you want to discuss them. We're more than happy to support you in that. The thing about the data is, yes, there is a certain amount of data out there about you, but GDPR has advanced so much, and it's an absolute minefield. I'm now the data protection officer, and I've been working with ICO and catching up on everything, and it can be tricky. And as the data protection officer, I would always err on the side of caution. I would rather do that than cause an issue for people.
Mm-hmm. And so we're looking at, does that answer your problem, Fraser?
Well, not completely, because it also then raises the question about transparency and openness in terms of the fact that I've got no objection to my data in terms of my address, my phone number, my email address being available, certainly to the members of our parish. And in a wider context, anybody who might want to contact me on the basis of parish business. And I wouldn't want to put obstacles in their way or be seen to be part of a secretive organisation.
Yeah. Okay.
I agree entirely, Fraser, but some people may not feel that way, and some people may only wish limited information about themselves to be available to members of the public, and that limited information might simply be, I'm a parish councillor and this is my email address and this is how you can contact me. I have been in many parish council meetings where this has been debated in the past, and we have asked for comments or statements from parish councillors to introduce themselves to the wider public. Some councillors have been quite happy, such as yourself, to do so. Other councillors have not, and we have to, as an organisation, be mindful of those individual choices.
So could we take a vote on this then, about whether people here tonight are happy for member data to be available to others or not?
Can we first of all clarify do it in 2 stages.
Yeah.
So that anyone who is speaking as the agreed representative of a council puts their hand up, and those councils will be dealt with in that way.
Excuse me, Janet. Janet, we're providing an electronic way of voting, so each councillor and each person here can vote electronically. Is that correct? Can vote electronically.
Okay.
But
it's a yes, no, or abstain.
Right.
That's fine, but
Okay.
I wasn't clear what we were to do next, and so therefore you've made that clear. So that
Thank you. There's a link just gone out now that everybody can click onto, and they can make a decision. As I said, this item was on the agenda earlier on, and we really couldn't take it off. And what I'd really like attendees tonight to do is actually go back to the councils and have a discussion with them and see how their councils and their individual councillors feel about it. That would be really, really helpful. And then let's have a feedback from your councillors, and we'll take it from there.
Okay.
Yeah.
And Caroline, yes, Caroline Coates, I take your point there about there being confusion. And yes, we can take it to the next meeting in February.
May.
And that would, well, there'll be a meeting in February or in May, whichever we have in May. When we have a proper meeting, we will be able to discuss it fully, and hopefully you'll all go back and get some sort of resolution from your councils. That's the answer, isn't it? If we can do that, that would be absolutely perfect. So
and I think in the meantime, whilst we're waiting for the votes to come in, I will contact all our member councils and then talk about what we've discussed, and then ask and extrapolate that out to all our members who have not managed to make it tonight. So we have a full view of all our membership. They need to be part of the conversation as well.
Deferred.
Someone has just requested, I'm a clerk. So is the system that you have explained to us, Adrian, able to clarify that or deal with clerk of a council?
I'm sorry, I don't understand the question. If the clerk of the council has been nominated and voted on and minuted to represent that council, then they're allowed to represent that council, because the whole of the council has nominated them to vote on their behalf.
Yeah, well, that is obvious, but because of the way it was explained, it probably wasn't clarified that whether you are a councillor or a clerk, if you are the formal nominee of the council, then it's the same whether you're clerk or councillor.
Yes, thank you for that, Janet.
Okay. Gabby, I see you're here. Hello, Gabby. Can we unmute Gabby?
Lovely, thank
Gabby,
you.
yes.
Yes, I'm just on this point of member data. I wonder if I could just make a point for reflection for later, is that membership of a county association should be something that we're proud of, and it doesn't fit as a private or a confidential item. You know, it doesn't fit into the categories for confidentiality. So I'm just thinking about that wider point here about having perhaps councils might like to consider having a logo or a banner on website saying proud to be a member of the county association. You know, it's about demonstrating good governance and a commitment to working together as part of the local sector. This is the local government association, all of the district councils, the principal authorities, they're all proud to be members of that. This is not, we don't have a transactional relationship with members. We are, the whole ethos of the cooperative, and I respect the discussions that have gone on about that. And from a practical point of view, yes, we need a proper, simple governance structure. But we are a group that is supposed to be working for the benefit of our residents across the county. And I think if we show that we're all working, and if we're proud to be part of the association, then these sort of questions shouldn't be coming up as much. And just a final thing on that one is that there's a list of parish councils and town council clerk and members, officers and members, available in the public domain anyway, through district and county. So why are we worried about it? We've always had it listed on our website.
Yeah, thank you, Gabby. That's very, very constructive. Yes, I think Alan and then Carolyn.
Yeah, totally agree, Gabby. It's something I was going to raise. The information, certain types of information about all of us as elected or not, or councillors, is there. It's on the nomination forms, you know, addresses, names, and everything. It's already it's in the public domain. I think the bigger issue, maybe not for now, is if we get a blanket request for data, you know, for block data. That's where the danger is, because as Adrian suggested earlier on, National are well aware of requests for every single council that they are party to, so that people can send out flyers on a commercial basis. And I think that's where the danger is from the point of view of that data. If an individual wants to get hold of it, that shouldn't be a problem, because it's available publicly in terms of contact names and addresses. Inside that, the question is, and I'm not sure what information we hold extra to that falls outside the domain of what every parish has and that is publicly accessible. Does that make sense? In other words, the information is there, held in other ways, and we've got the same. So one is in the public domain and one is with us. Is there a difference, and is that an issue? You know, it's I don't think, this is a personal thing, I don't think it is an issue, and I'm proud to be a part of the organisation, and I'm also very proud of being on the parish council, and we have a job to do together, which is what it's about. So if somebody wants to contact me, and they have, I'm happy for them finding my name and data, you know, in terms of contact details. Beyond that, I don't want to be bombed with flyers saying, will you have your central heating improved?
Yeah. Okay. Hello, Carolyn, did you have a comment? Because there's Sheila has also got a comment to make.
Only that I thought it's quite a good idea to, Adrian, when you put the paper out as to members, as you have said you are going to do, to offer the options of perhaps having member councils' logos on the website. And also then, of course, it would have to be, the question would have to be asked, is that on the members area of the website or on the public area of the website? I take it from what Gabby has said that she would be very happy for it to be in the public area, and I can see arguments in favour of that. I wouldn't really myself be in favour of giving out email addresses for all of the clerks or all of the chairs of the parish councils across Norfolk. I don't think that would be a correct use of data.
And Sheila.
No, thank you, Sheila. That's most helpful. And yes, I've taken that on board, and we will certainly enact on that as well.
Excuse me. I was just going to say, most of the data that you are talking about is readily available in the public domain anyway. I think where we might be getting a bit confused is about people asking who is actually a fully subscribed and paid up member of this organisation. And I think there's a slight difference there, because it is a preference, and some councils decide to pay that subscription and join and have the benefits of this, and some choose to join another organisation, and some choose to join nothing at all. But all of that information, I mean, for instance, anybody in Helston who had the thought to research it can see that Helston Parish Council pays an annual subscription to you, because it is in our accounts, and it is under our, payments out for openness and transparency, because we do publish any account over a certain amount of money, as you are aware. And of course, a big place like Helston, the fee to you is well over that threshold for publication. So we have to openly show it and demonstrate it in our accounts. So a lot of this information, people for marketing purposes and that only have to tap on parish council websites and find it. What is different is whether councillors choose to go public with phone numbers or email addresses. Now, if you have an email address like we now all have, which is a helstonparishcouncil.gov.uk one, we're all the same with our names. It was different to that when we were using our own personal email addresses, but that's been remedied by going with a completely different system. Some parish councillors don't want their phone numbers published, and then that is a matter of contacting the office, and then the office makes contact with that councillor, and they can ring the resident back. I think what people sometimes are trying to do is, especially marketing companies and businesses, is get you to do the work for them in collating a great big list of all these email addresses, and they're just being lazy in some respects, but they're expecting it, and I don't see that there's any reason to do it. Anybody who genuinely wants to find out how to get in contact with a councillor can ring the parish office or the clerk, or they can email. They can go on, the bigger ones have very good websites, very thorough websites, or also that information is held at district council office level. So I don't think we should be collating these great big large lists, which are going to be time consuming and onerous, when someone genuinely who needs to be specific about who they need to contact and see has other ways of doing it, which are far more secure.
Okay, thank you, Sheila. Okay, so do we want to defer this vote, or are we going to go ahead with it? What do you think, Adrian?
I think we could defer. I think what this debate has exposed is that there are different views, there are different concerns. Some people are very, very happy, some people are concerned. Sheila's alluded to quite specific points, that we hold a lot of data on people and it's collected all in one place, and we could be doing the work for somebody who has nefarious reasons for doing it. I take on Gabby's point that it is something to be proud of that we have members in our organisation, and we should be exposing them. Actually, on every website that we run, it states that council is a member of the Norfolk Association of Local Councils. Mark, you raised an issue with regards exactly what data. That's the point. What is the data? I'm not entirely sure, and I think it's something, and perhaps a deferred vote on this is probably the best way forward until we can explore and get a view from everybody as to what they perceive as a deferred vote. And I'm more than happy to collate that information as it comes in and then do it under consultation. I think what tonight has shown is there are different views, there are different issues being thrown up, and I think they really all need to be explored.
Thank you. Yeah. Okay. So I think the best thing then is to defer the vote until we've had further consultation and all go back to your councils and have a word with them about it and see what they consider. And then we can make
Chair, that's a motion to defer, and we need to take a vote on that motion to defer, please.
Okay. Yeah. Alan?
Sorry, I was just saying, how do we vote?
Sorry, we've got a hand up from Peter Cook. Peter, would you like to unmute yourself, please?
Unmute.
I'm unmuting.
Yeah, good.
Is there no guidance from the National Association? I mean, isn't this what they're all about?
We haven't had anything from them.
Well,
so
what do they do for us?
Well, they they do quite a bit actually. They lobby government for a start. So that's where all this business is coming in with the grants and so on. So they do quite a lot of things. So,
but could we not put this to them as a problem?
Yeah, I think this is what I think this is probably what we've got in mind. Yeah,
because it's clearly an ongoing issue. I mean, at the end of the day, as far as I understand it, some district councils sell their electoral rolls to outside companies, some don't. But if it's in the public domain, and anybody can get at it, it might be better that we made some money out of it than gave it away for free. But I think we haven't really got to the heart of this issue yet.
Yeah. So therefore, we're going to defer any vote on it. People are going to consult and discuss with their councils what do they think, etc., 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 and we will find out answers, and we will have the consultation document circulated in the new year sometime. Okay, I think that's the best way to deal with it. Okay, so I'm proposing that we defer. Can I have a seconder to defer this proposition, please? Right. Oh, I said John Unverified. What's your surname, John? Can you tell us on this thingy? You got it. John Cowan. John Cowan has seconded. Where are you from, John? Barnum Broom, PC. Thank you. He seconded. And is everyone in favour of deferring the motion? Yeah, everybody. Is that okay? Right across? Okay. Yep. Good. Okay, thank you very much for that. So now we are going to be, yes, we will provide a framework of what we can vote on, what we want you to consult on, please, in the future. So don't worry, we'll get that out to you as soon as we can. Okay. Now we're looking to the future, and we have a summary from our county officer, I believe. Over to you, Adrian.
Thank you, Chair. Some of the things I'm going to mention in the next few minutes have already been alluded to by the Vice Lord Lieutenant and 2 or 3 other board members. So you'll have to excuse me because they haven't seen what I'm going to write. So if I repeat some of their stuff, it's because they didn't know. So good evening again. Local parish and town councils are the first tier of elected representation in their communities. They are required to not only serve those communities, but are governed by central government legislation in how they carry out their activities. Carry out vital and irreplaceable service provisions, and in the case of parish councils, on a voluntary and non-pecuniary basis. You can often find yourselves between a rock and a hard place, with on the one hand, demands and expectations from government and county councils policies, and on the other, your parishioners. It is my view and of the Norfolk Association that you are often undervalued, sometimes unappreciated, and even on occasion misunderstood in not only what you are trying to achieve, but what you can in reality achieve. Your clerks play a key role in your councils. Their expert advice, guidance and communication skills are not just an invaluable asset to any council, but they are an integral part of that council. We recognise that. This is why we have a SILCA qualified trainer to provide you with clerks of the utmost quality. However, we do not want you to be the only ones who benefit from that expertise. So we, as an organisation, are exploring ways in how clerks can contribute to and support the decision making of Norfolk Association. It is therefore essential that those of you who put themselves up for such tasks are supported by a professional body, a body that is for you, not for central government, but for you. A body that is there to provide guidance, training and support. Our organisation has a board which is made up of parish councillors, and as such, they understand the issues that you as parish councillors face. As the county officer, I am determined to provide you with the best possible service that we can. When I say we, I mean the board, my excellent team, and with the backing of the National Association of Local Councils. We have already put in measures to improve access to training. By January, those who are seeking training will be able to book their training directly with our service providers. We are looking at implementing direct access for our members to legal advice, and that will be from employment law, HR, health and safety, as well as the day-to-day support of emerging issues. And we also, at this present moment in time, continue to provide payroll and IT support. We are working on a programme of training provision for new and seasoned councillors and hope to be in a position early next year to deliver that training. We continue to seek new and innovative ways to enhance, improve and increase our service provision to you, who actually are our customers. Thank you for listening. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Adrian. Okay. Is there any other comment that anybody wishes to make? I see that somebody suggested that we know that Adrian Myers, who's just spoken, is our county officer at the moment. So I think that's probably clear to you all now. Are there any other comments from anybody at all that you want to make? Or are you very happy about what's happening so that we can
Sheila's got her hand up.
Sheila? Yeah.
I haven't been to a meeting like this. I've been to some of your seminars and some of your meetings previously, but I think tonight it's been very interesting to hear the level of debate and comment. I feel very reassured, given that Adrian is in place. I know he's temporary, but you know, he might stay on. Who knows? I think you've had a very difficult time. And I think that some of the correspondence that came out from a certain person was most unfortunate. And I think from my own perspective, I didn't like the fact that it was circulated to my own councillors, which I didn't agree with in Helston. I thought I do feel that's a matter for you, and how you manage that is up to you, not up to the members or the councils. That is an employment law situation. But I'm reassured that you are trying very well. I know Gabby from training. I have attended some training with her as well, and I just like to see wish you, you know, all the best with your endeavours to, I suppose, in some respects, re-establish. But it sounds very optimistic, and I'm confident that you will do that.
Super. Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you.
I'm sure that we will all work together to get to our end for next year. So we're all looking forward to it very much, and it's very positive for us. And to have your support is absolutely brilliant. And thank you all for coming. We haven't had a meeting like this before, to be perfectly honest, because it's not really happened. But they're normally face to face, and I think people, in a way, prefer face to face. But again, that's up for judgment, because sometimes it's actually easier to do something like this where you don't have to travel for a start. So we're actually much better people not having to use up fuel and so on. But there we go. Across Norfolk, it's a lot of travelling, isn't it? So doing it like this can actually work quite nicely, especially if people can put their point of view forward. So thank you all very much for coming. Thank you to my fellow board members and to the staff, the county officer and so on. And also thank you to Margaret Dewsbury for coming along and listening in and hopefully putting our case for the grants for the next year or so. And also, of course, to Michael Gurney for coming as representative for Lady Dannant, and we are very pleased to be continuing with that association. We will be getting papers. I will be sending out the reports that we've written and read out to you, and hopefully you'll come back with all your comments on everything that you want us to do. Okay. Thank you very much, everybody. It's been super. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chair.
Thank you.
And everybody have a very pleasant Christmas.
And everyone.
Yeah. I was going to say happy Christmas to all of you and a happy new year.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye. Bye, everyone. Bye.